Welcome to Florida Education News. My name is Dr. Tony Arza, and today I'm sitting down with a candidate for Manatee County Public Schools School Board, Choate. It's nice to sit down with you. Thanks so much for sitting down.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So, look, it's election season in Florida, and as of today, you don't have an opponent. You may not have an opponent, but
Sure.
One of the things that's important to us and important to me personally is making sure that voters know the people that are running for office. And sometimes, the media doesn't always do the best job of being transparent and giving people an opportunity to speak for themselves and on their own behalf. So, wanted to sit down and get to know a little bit about you. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your background?
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, election season is always a fun time. Mailbox usually get full and social media blows up, right? But so I'm a fourth generation Bradenton resident, Manatee County, Florida. So for me, this is home, and Manatee County has always been my home. I don't plan on leaving. And I'm 41, have married to my beautiful wife now 22 years, just had our anniversary last week, which was great. Have two kids, both went through the public education system, and are both at local State College of Florida in Manatee. I was a teacher for about 12 years and a football coach, and moved to the financial world 2016-17, which allowed me the chance to get into the political world and become more of a public servant on that side.
And when I think of politics today and running for office, it's a huge sacrifice. You expose your family, and there are a lot of political attacks. I mean,
Sure.
It feels like lawfare is the new world we live in. What made you or motivated you to be willing to expose yourself and your family to that kind of environment? Obviously, there must have been a good that you thought, I need to be out there doing something. Could you kind of share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that there were some people around me, some mentor of mine, family friends that showed me what public service is like. And I know you're familiar with him, and Bill Galvano, who's a state rep and the state senator and president of the Senate. And so just growing up and helping him in his campaigns a little bit here and there, also doing some summer internships and things, really got me into what it looked like to be a public servant and bring positive change back to your area. And that was on a state level. Obviously, when leaving and going to teaching, really didn't have time to be able to do that. So when I left teaching to come into the financial world, I'm able to now set my schedule to where I can do some of that. And so it was 2021, spot opened up on the school board. And at the time, the mayor and our county commissioner, the chair of the commission at the time, said, hey, you'd be great for this, right? You have education background, you have the private sector background. What do you think? And, I don't know if my wife knew what we were getting into, what she was getting into. And so she learned real quick, stay off social media. Don't read the comments and things like that. But I knew the game. I knew that listen, you're not going to please everybody, right? You're always going to have some people that don't agree with you and some that do. But at the end of the day, for me, it's if I believe truly in my heart that this is the right choice and this is the right thing to do for our students in this case, and our teachers and faculty, then I'm going to stick with it and do that. And so I got thrown in the fire real early in 21, coming out of COVID, and the mask question of do we mask or do we not? Do we allow it to be a parental choice or not? I was on the side of parental choice, right? I had two kids in the school system as well, and I wanted that to be a family choice, right? And so I learned real quick, and my wife and my family learned real quick that you're always going to have half the people you please and half you don't, right? And so, but for me, I think that yes, those can be negatives, but you can also turn those to positives. I think that the good work we can do inside, not only whether the school system or if you're on the county seat or city seat, and the connections and the good you can do from that is what drives me, and hopefully I leave the district better than it was when I got there.
Yeah, and you're running for re-election, right? And so when you run for re-election, obviously it means that there's still work you feel like needs to be done.
Yep.
When you look back, what are some of the things that you're proud of over the past 4 years, and what do you hope to accomplish?
So I'll say number one of the things I'm proud of is my peers on the board chose me to be a chair 3 years in a row, right? And I don't take that lightly. I think that that's something that is pretty rare to have happen 3 times in a row, but I feel this wasn't a populist vote, right? This was your peers who were sitting around the dais with you and believe that you're doing a good job and leading not only them, but then also the district in a positive way. So I was really proud of that, of being able to manage that in a time, especially come after COVID in 22, 23, a lot of stuff with education happening and things. So I was really proud of that. From a district standpoint, we've done a really good job of landing the ESSER plane, as we like to say around Manatee County, which was obviously, a lot of the government, municipalities, school districts, et cetera, got funding during COVID. Then that funding stops. How do you land that plane, right? And so we've done a very good job in the district not having to make a lot of layoffs and cuts and things like that in our programming. We did a very good job managing those assets throughout the 3 or 4 years that we were able to get them. And then I think, too, we look at scores. I think we're really concentrating, and we've put a focus at the school, on the board level the past 3 or 4 years. We put a focus on early learning education, literacy specifically. And we've done a very good job in our district to make sure that's a focus of ours. We added it to the referendum, the voters' referendum, that we wanted to put some more money into that early learning because the state only funds K through 12. So anything pre-K, you got to find where that dollars come from. So really proud of that. Really proud of seeing our movement and our scores over the last 3 or 4 years. We're at the highest we've ever been in reading scores, et cetera. Our early learning scores just went up 12% this past year. So just a lot of exciting stuff happening. And I think as you go for re-election, if you've done good stuff in the past 4 years, hopefully that bodes well for your re-election, right? That people see what you have done and the leader you are and want you to stay there. And so, like you say, as of now, nobody's come to go run against me, and we'll see how that goes in the next couple of days. But I'm excited for the next 4 years too.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things in Florida that people are talking about is obviously universal school choice.
Sure.
You have a lot of districts and school board members that have been very outspoken against a parent's right to send a child to the school of their choice. And I just want to understand where do you stand on that, and how do you want to support or oppose something like that initiative?
Yeah. So I'm a proponent of school choice. I believe that a parent, obviously being a parent of 2 kids, now they're in college, but recently, right, in the education system, if I felt like the schools that my children were zoned to, that they had a better opportunity in whatever it may be, whether it be academics, athletics, whatever, if I have a chance to get them there to better their future and better their chances of maybe in college and scholarships, et cetera, I should have the right to do that. And I think that the school choice, for me personally, being a competitive guy and being someone that I think the tide will rise all boats, right? And I think if sometimes in public education we get that feeling of this is the way it's always been done, this is the way we've always done it, and as you're returning to a whole new era of AI and different things that are happening all around us, we can't just be stuck in the old ways. And so when new choices pop up, whether it be charter schools and the voucher program, however you want to describe school choice, I think there's got to be a chance we look back at ourselves in the mirror as a district and say, what are we doing to make our students and our families choose our schools, right? Like, what do we have going on that they don't want to leave our schools? They don't feel like that the best choice is outside of our schools. So I think although we're all trying to do the same thing, which is educate our kids, get them to be good, patriots and citizens of our community. There is somewhat to me of, I want us to be the best. Like, I want Manatee County to be the best and our traditional public schools to be the best. So we've got to raise that bar every year. Like, we can't just be, hey, we were good. We got to be great. And so I think when you have choice like that, you look around the regular world, right? Like, if I can choose to go to Lowe's and get this customer service, or Home Depot, right? And some customer service may be better than the other, I'm going to go to that one. And so I think in our education system, we can treat it the same way because we aren't a customer service business, right? We're serving others. And so for me, I'm not opposed to it at all. I think there's also some strategic ways a district can work with charter. We have some space in a school that we've probably for 5 or 6 years, even before the School of Hopes, and even that conversation coming around, we've already been contracting with an outside charter school that takes about a wing or so of a school. So I think there's some dynamics and things that can happen, and some partnerships that can happen that are very positive as well. And so I'm all for our families choosing what's best for their kids.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and you describe a lot of the different ways in which school choice has changed how we look at education. Sure. And some of these partnerships, and I agree with you. I think that having parents more involved in kids' education, it's a no-brainer, right? Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be better, because just the fact that we've now engaged parents in making a choice, they have to, exercise their responsibility. Sure. As parents, and their right as parents. So when you look, forward, and you look at the budget that school board members manage and
Sure.
school districts manage, most people don't know that school districts' budgets are extremely large. You guys have about $1 billion budget.
A little over, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you look at managing that, how do you ensure that you're managing taxpayer dollars in a way that work the best for the community, that you're putting them to work for the taxpayers? And then, tied to that is why should the voters trust you? How do you ensure that you're using those dollars in a stewardship way?
Yeah, great questions. The budget, I think, is probably the most difficult thing for new board members to understand when they come on. I think it's the most difficult thing for the public to understand when they're hearing it. Due to the fact of not only we talk about large numbers, right? Our budget last couple of years has been about 1.6, 1.7 billion. Now we have not hit that number just due to openings that aren't filled and things like that. But consistently since I've been on the board, we've been over $1 billion budget. And so, people think, wow, $1 billion, it is a lot of money. We employ about almost 7,000 people, right? We're the largest employer in the county, so we are a large organization, right? And so I think that the most important part of managing the budget is, number one, making sure that the staff at the district is good, right? Like we hire the superintendent, that's our number one and only hire. Superintendent hires everyone else, right? So we've got to make sure our CFO and then our budget, folks that work in the budget, and then everywhere else in the financial department are solid and good people at what they do. And I think we have a phenomenal staff. It makes it a lot easier for us as board members when we do have a great staff, that they understand it, that they get it, and they're also conscious of how we spend our money, because it's not our money, right? It is the people's money. But I think there is an understanding of operational and capital, and how do we divide, what can be spent, what, learning the different buckets and the different allocations that have to be spent on certain money has to be spent on certain things. And I don't think people truly understand that from the outside. I don't think that new board members understand that coming in. Luckily, I had 12 years in the district as a school board member, or excuse me, as a teacher. And my wife's a teacher as well. And she was actually getting her master's probably about 10, 15 years ago. And I remember her talking about the budget stuff, right? Going through her master's. And so I knew more than your average board member who's not part of the system. So that helped me tremendously getting into it. But you've got organizations like the School Board Association, Florida's FSBA, that will put on some budget classes throughout the year. And I think that's extremely important. All of our board members have gone through those classes, and there's 2 of them, because it gives you the knowledge of what does that look like? What does FTE mean? What does base allocation mean? How to use certain money towards what? But I think going to your question on making sure that we're using the money correctly for our students and our taxpayers, right? Is I think we've got to do a good job, and I think we had the last couple of years of really combing through the budget and seeing what do we have on the books, and sometimes a lot of programs, things like that, software you purchase, things like that. that are these effective or not, right? In a big bureaucracy like this, obviously a large part of our dollars is personnel. But what kind of money are we spending on technology and software and different programming that's not cheap? and is it having an impact that should be having? If it's not having the impact it should be having, we got to nix that and move to the next thing. So I think going through your budget and making sure that the superintendent knows that that's what the board wants is to be able to look through that budget and see what's effective and what's not. I think that's key. Just not getting caught in that this is the way we've done it, this is who we've used, and kind of get monotonous like that. I think is the best way to run the budget.
Well, look, thanks so much for sitting down with us. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. Good luck on your race. Hopefully you
Appreciate it.
I'm sure you're hoping that you don't have an opponent.
Yes.
But look forward. It's been a pleasure to sit down with you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.